guy with paper in his hand and Bob Marley in the background. He can't figure out what room to give his son.
eVTOL Weekly, episode 19. My name's Liam, and I've got my co-host Dylan here beside me. Dylan, I have to correct your name there. I have to put Hustle Brothers because, guys, if you didn't know, Dylan is on the Hustle Brothers now. I've been a little bit quiet over the last, week, I'd say. I was sick as a dog, to be fair, so I couldn't even look at YouTube, X, whatever. But I haven't forgotten about you guys. I will start rolling out some eVTOL content. I think Ryse is rolling out a video later on today. But Dylan, it's been a while.
Yeah.
How are you getting on?
Doing well, Liam. It's great to see you back. You know, we all love and care about you, so it's great to have you back. Got to actually watch the Rocket Lab launch that you streamed earlier today. But yeah, everything's good. Day's going well. Really excited to talk about Archer, Joby, and eVTOLs.
It's been a mad exciting day, not gonna lie. And guys, forgive me today. It's my first day back at doing this, and I was saying to Dylan before the stream. Do you know what it is? You get imposter syndrome every time you come back. When you're doing it every day, it doesn't bother me. I could come on 100 times a day. But yeah, doing 3 streams today now. Do you know, it's your back's against the wall. But do you know what? We'll enjoy it. We'll get into it. Chat, you are going amazing already. I can't believe how big this community is growing, both here and Rocket Lab. It's absolutely insane. And I want to say to the guys, I haven't abandoned you in eVTOLs. What I'm sort of doing, Ryse has taken over the eVTOLs as his baby at the moment, and you've rolled out 2 really good videos there last week. One was on Archer and Joby's earnings. Now, we apologize, that should have came out a lot earlier than it did, but look, life gets in the way sometimes. He then done Archer's piloted flight, which was quite good. We're going to touch on a little bit of that today. We're going to explain why we believe all eVTOLs are running up today. And I've actually got a special one for you today that some of you diehards will actually remember me talking about this a while ago, but they won't have really sat in your head as an eVTOL / VTOL drone sort of play around this big news that's happening at the moment. So I'm going to share that with you too. But yeah, I will not be going anywhere. You have seen we're doing Rocket Lab daily, and I'm more or less trying to grow that. And as my time sort of opens up, we'll be diving back into the eVTOLs, growing that out in a big way. But this way, we've got Dylan on board now as one of the Hustle Brothers, because look, life gets in the way sometimes, and look, having 2 Hustle Brothers is good, having 3 is even better. And look, we're always open to more and more people. What I'd really love, Dylan, I don't know if it's something you thought about, but I'd love to have a Joby expert.
Oh, yes,
Because
yes.
you really
I
dive in
actually
hard
have,
on
yeah.
Joby.
No, I agree with you very much, Liam. I think for me, the eVTOL space in general is so interesting. I am just like head deep in the eVTOL, but it was Archer that caught my eye so early. So as always, I'm going to be open and transparent. I have a spreadsheet. I'm always like, I'll share it with you guys, you know, take it. There's one sheet that says Archer, one that says Joby. Archer, I'm always attacking it, going to it. My Joby sheet is pretty blank. So as me just being open and honest to the community, I do a lot of research and DD on the eVTOLs. But yeah, I'm always going to have a little bit more knowledge on Archer because I follow it a bit closer. With that said, yeah, no, I think it would be amazing to have the Joby expert. And like you say, it is really fun as the community grows to have that opportunity for those voices to come through, because again, it's so fun in the chat to get to know the guys and to go back and forth. So I know for myself, sometimes it's like the hands or fingers can get a little tired. It's like you're typing one thought and you're having two, three, and four more go through the head. So it's nice to be able to hop on. So thank you for having me, and great to talk with you and talk with you again. Because like you said, I'm talking with you off off stream anyway. So it's good to talk with you here.
No, do you know what, Dylan? You're one of us now. You don't have to thank us. You're one of the crew.
Yeah.
And look, guys, as we grow out, as Dylan gets more comfortable talking eVTOL, you never know. He might be running his own podcast, or he might be creating his own videos. But look, I'm putting no pressure on you, brother. It's however you feel.
Well, and actually, and maybe just to go backwards in the story and just give you a little bit of the history and how I connected with you and stuff, and just so much credit to you. I had found Archer previous to knowing Liam, and I bought shares because of a Usher commercial, and I'm like, Something's odd here." So I'd like to know a little bit more. And in trying to find anything on YouTube, and it just was not there. And I think it was maybe like maybe September to October-ish of last year, give or take, typed in Ryse Aviation and had one of your videos come up, and it must have just been through a comment or something that we started connecting. So really thank you for the daily content. Like seriously, honestly, thank you for me to continue to do that, because like you said, the time and the effort, I never got into investing into Archer to be a content creator or to grow in that space. For me, I smile and light up about this because I enjoy talking to Archer, and my wife and son, who's 4, is only going to hear so much Archer talk each day. So yeah, it's just really cool for you to have grown the community and have opened up a community for people like myself, and to any ball in the chat and that watch your videos, to have that opportunity to talk with each other and bring our ideas to the table and have them brought back down to earth and see some of them come to fruition. That's actually been really cool as of late too. So yeah, lots of good, and thank you for all you did in the past for us as well.
No, thank you
Yeah.
again. I think we've said it before how we've created this. Me and Ryse used to speak on the daily, and we used to think we were a little bit weird. Like you're saying there, there's only so much you can say to your wife and your child about Archer before you end up getting a look.
That's right.
But look, we've created a group. There's what, 2,500 of us now. I just can't believe it. It's gonna keep growing, gonna keep getting
Yeah.
bigger. And guys, yeah, before I jump on to all the eVTOL news, I'm extending an olive branch to absolutely anyone. Look, you don't have to be a content creator. I don't care if you have 1 share or you have 1,000,000 shares. Your opinion matters. I promise you that. Just because you have 1,000,000 shares doesn't mean nothing. It just means you have money. You could have acquired that money any way possible. It doesn't mean you're a good investor. You could have 1 share, and the only thing you're lacking is capital. You might have the knowledge. And look, if you want to come on, share your thoughts. If you want to just get into this space, have a chat with us, or if you want to grow as a content creator in Archer, Joby, whatever, reach out, become a hustler, brother. Come on with us. We don't bite. I actually feel like the more of us we get, like we've said it with the Hayes Club, the more of us we get, the more podcast, more content we can create as a group. Look, you're gonna get bored of me every single day saying my thoughts, but if you're hearing from me, you're hearing from Ryse, you're hearing from Dylan, it just gets more exciting. More people we have, more exciting it gets. Ideas, opinions collide, clash. But as long as we're respectful, doesn't really matter.
Absolutely.
But let's jump on to the comments here. So we have Terry. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good day to be in Joby and Archer stock. Tip the hat off to Hustle Brother Liam. Thank you, brother. Look, it's one of those. It's easy for me to sit back and go, "Oh yeah, I knew it all along." But look, a few weeks ago when we dive bombed, I
Uh-huh.
could sit back and think, what am I doing?
Of
Um,
course, of course.
so look, it's nice to stay humble.
Yeah.
Um, Scott Williams, have a good show. I seen you on the stream earlier, brother. Thank you for supporting. And he says, go Joby. If you want to be the Joby creator, brother, you can
Yeah.
come on in. Curtis actually doing a project at the moment. Make sure to follow Call Me Curtis on X. He's doing a project at the moment where he's buying ACHR on the daily. Um,
Nice.
so if you haven't, make sure to follow Call Me Curtis. Then what I'm gonna do, I am going to. This is how live we are, guys. My laptop's about to die. So Dylan, can you take over for me for a second? I'll fire up a
Yeah,
comment for you.
of course, Liam, of course. All right, all right, I'm about to be all right. There goes Big Head Dylan. So I'm gonna lean in here. Terry says, "Fun day. At one point, I was up Archer 31% and Joby 31%. Faded, but sorry, it's just small. What a horse race for a while. No, that's so true. And I was actually just gonna go back and look at what the end of day was for Archer right there. So pulling it up now, Archer
I can get
is
lots of screen
trading
here.
right now at 1222 on Hood. And let's see, Joby after hours. No, but it was a great day to be in either ticker. So fantastic job for all that have invested into the eVTOL space. And maybe show some confidence to any of those that are newer to the space or kind of more getting interested in dipping their toe into it. And again, it's not financial advice. I won't speak for Liam, but for me, it's just, again, it's, I heard the other day from somebody that was in the Haze Club, great guy, Chris, and he was saying there's, so many companies that we can invest in, but what company would you really want to like spend your time and be interested and actually want to do that DD within that company? So for some, they love Rocket Lab and doing that DD, it's just seeing things from the past that are coming to fruition for them and some dreams come true. And same with Archer, it's just one of those things. It's just so fun to see the updates as they come out. Almost start to get to know the company. I'll have to ask Liam when he gets back on if it was to the date, but the test flight that they had. So Archer had the N703AX in the sky again on June 5th. This was a about double the flight time of the first flight. And so what I was noticing on the flight radar was it was coming very low altitude. So I wasn't sure at first if they did like a land and then a rerun. But to the best of my knowledge, what I actually found was they went to just under sub 100 miles per hour, so we're about 98 miles per hour, and it was put in the video. It's called like a low pass. I might be getting that verbiage wrong, but they did
No,
like a
no,
low.
that's what it's called. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Liam. Yeah, so they did a low pass. So it looks like if I'm looking at the flight radar right, it was about 98 miles per hour during that low pass, which what would have caught the altitude of midnight, down at about 100 feet off the ground. So the graph, as it looked prior to the video, as if they may have done a takeoff, land, takeoff, land. It was that low pass, and then they elevated back up and continued for about 6 more minutes, and then successfully landed the midnight for its second piloted flight. So, but it's just kind of cool to get to know the cadence, and it's what, Tuesday now, so it'll be interesting to see if they do another piloted flight per schedule tomorrow or Thursday, if it has gone to cadences the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I want to give a big shout out to Archer Daily. A lot of news I'm sharing today is going to be through Archer Daily, just because, look, I haven't had time this week to absolute deep dive into everything. But I think this is what you're talking about. The N703X had another piloted flight. It was Thursday, June 5th, and the duration was 13 minutes. So we are starting to ramp up on the duration of flights. Joby did have their pilot flight quite a bit before Archer. Now, I'm going to bring up a second graph here, guys.
Mm.
And I want you to sort of give me a little bit of feedback on this. I said to Archer Daily that I'd do a video on this, but SMG Consulting done a report on the forecasted timelines for Archer, Beta Technologies, and Joby when they
Oh,
see them going commercial.
okay.
Well, they have their type certification then when they're entering service.
Mm.
So when we look at this, we can see that Archer, they believe the first conforming midnight first flight will be towards the start of Q4 25, with type certification going for 2027 around the middle of Q4. When we look at Joby, they're saying more or less within the next quarter or so, they'll be getting their conforming S4 flight and the beginning of the TIA 4 credited flights. They then believe that the type certification won't be until the first quarter of 2027 and then entering into service. Now, this is all the road to that big project we were talking about, the Olympics.
Mm.
We said why we believe that both Archer and Joby are going to be at the Olympics, and then again, have Archer bitten off more than they can chew with the Olympics. Look, I've done 3 or 4 videos on it. I don't want to absolutely bore you guys. If you're new here and you don't know about the Olympics 2028 project, what I'll do, I'll drop the video on X after this, because I feel like as an Archer and a Joby investor, they're 2 projects that I'd really want you to sort of be up to date on as an investor, because I feel like that'll be, pardon the pun, but the biggest bang when they go in. Because look, there's no better time to do it when the whole world is watching. What did they say? Up close to 1 billion people will be watching the Olympics.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And how is it for you guys over there watching the Olympics? Because I would say here in the US, like you have NBC that will re-air kind of like the primetime event of the day, but also they probably have 3, 4, or 5 channels that are streaming all of them throughout the day. But it is kind of one of those times. At least I've noticed that it does pull a lot more eyes to the screen, and whether it's you just kind of have this niche event that you're just into, and once it comes up every 4 year, like me, it's curling, like, am
Yeah.
I ever gonna curl in my life? Probably not. But when it's on the Olympics, I'm like, okay, tuning in, who's curling today? So yeah,
Well, to be fair, like over here, boxing is massive. So I would watch the
okay.
boxing. I feel like you can't not watch the 100-meter sprint. I feel like, especially
Sure.
when Bolt used to
At,
be in it. Oh, mate, I just used to idolize that guy. Look, I'm not built like Bolt whatsoever, but like, oh,
so
mate.
quick, quick name drop. I do not know him at all, but we'll take from the hometown. Noah Lyles,
Yeah,
high school right up here. TC Williams in Alexandria with us. So
oh
no
yeah.
relation. Don't know the family. Don't know the gentleman. But I guess we'll take
Will he
him as
become a
Noah.
hustle, brother?
I, I guess we'll the if it's okay with you, the invite is open. There you go.
But guys,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to do a backpedal a little bit because I seen Dylan was doing it there, and what I'll do, I'll bring it up on the screen. So really, I can see some of your comments asking. So we have Randy asking, why do you think Joby faded hard and Archer today? Archer ends up 7%, Joby 2%. I have a massive theory on why I believe that's the case. And what I'll do, I'll go through all the prices and then I'll explain why. And then if 3 of you subscribe, I'm going to give you what my dark horse play is during this time. And I actually benefited quite nicely. Any of you that have been following for a long time, you'll know I'm invested in them. It kind of ties in with Rocket Lab a little bit. And I think Dylan will know the stock I'm talking about. But Archer, we're up 6.94% today. And after hours, we're still climbing. Well, look, we're sort of flat, 0.
Mm.
16%. Over the 5-day, that's a what happened, 26%. Looking over the month, we're still up 38%. So look, we've recovered from that pullback. And then again, 6 months, 64%. And that's why I say, do not worry about these little pullbacks that may occur, because sometimes you just have to zoom out. When we compare that to Joby over the 1 day, yeah, you're saying it's 2%. And what we hit 1027 today
Yeah.
at one stage. Over the 5 days, we're up 22% still. It's nothing to be scoffed at. 42% over the month, and then I can imagine over the 6 month, yeah, we're climbing nicely. 21%. Then I want to do a bit of a touch on HOVR. Said I'll cover them weekly. However, my God, please, Brandon, I'm calling out to you, brother, because I actually love you, mate. Love speaking to you. I love the story of the company. I actually really bought into everything about the company. But there's just no news for me to report on. I promise I will keep reporting on them, but there's no news for me. But again, 19% today. And it's going to be, I'm going to tell you exactly why all these are pumping up. Over the 5 days, 38%. Month, look, guys, if you bought in when we done our interview, you'd be 172% up now. I'm not saying our interview moved it whatsoever, so don't even think I'm trying that, guys.
No.
But yeah, 172%. Over 6 months, 131. Vertical aerospace. And this is the one where I think it's being pulled up by the rest of the eVTOL plays. And before you vertical, I know certain creators going to hate me for saying this because they love vertical, but I feel like they're being pulled up with the rest of the plays, and we'll go on further to say why that's the case. Remember, vertical is based in the UK. As far as I'm aware, they're not looking for US certification anytime soon in comparison to the likes of Archer and Joby. Over the 5 day, 14%. So see, we're trailing Archer and Joby. Over the 1 month, 39%. But you got to remember, over the month, they've had their test flights going on too. They actually got theirs out before Archer did. So that's why we're starting to dramatically go up. But again, look, we're down over the 6 month, 20%. I'd be quite careful in vertical at the moment. If I remember, I don't think their balance sheet is looking too good. I'm going to do a deep dive into all the financials around all these companies, because I actually seen that quite a few liked. I think we were neglecting the financial side of all these. And the man himself is here, Christopher. And I think we all sort of bought into, like, we don't really want to talk financials on a live stream. And I completely agree with that. But I think it was great the way Ryse done it, where the 10-minute video broke down all the financials. And I think that would be very nice to do for Archer, Joby, New Horizon, and vertical. EHang as well, if you want it. Also, we had, can't remember who it was asking me earlier for drone stocks. Give me a shout in the comments.
And I'll have to get back to you,
look
Liam.
at.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'll have to get back to you. I have to go back through the I think it's the 10K, maybe not the 10Q, 10K, but about the G&A lines on both Joby and Archer. It was interesting to go back and look at those and actually look at cash on the book and burn rates.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm just you're popping the bubble on. I think you're onto something too, and keeping the eye on that angle as well.
Yeah, I really think we need to start looking at the financial side, because I think it's easy to get caught up in the hype now. Look, I don't want to be. I am the biggest ball when it comes to eVTOLs. We've been here during the worst days, but I just want to ground us a little bit, that we don't get hyped up too much by all these new. I'm not saying verticals now, but the likes of HOVR and all this. We need to actually take a step back, look at the balance sheet, look at what's going ahead, where we can see things going. Just I'd be very careful.
I think it's a smart investment move, bringing that information forward, if possible, I think it's a great idea.
So then what did I want to circle back on? So it was, why did Joby drop more than Archer today? Now we're going to get onto the news, but off the top of my head, why I believe Joby drops more than Archer is because I believe Archer has a much larger retail base that are a lot more emotional than the likes of your Jobys are. That in itself will give you bigger swings. You'll get massive upside, you'll get massive downside. You'll see, I don't want to be the bull in a china shop, but when Archer drops, you'll see it will drop significantly quicker than Joby will.
Sure.
What goes up quickly goes down quickly. We've said that since day dot. Joby has always been a slow and steady. We've said it from the start. They're just performing. They are more or less exactly what they say on the tin, where Archer is quite a lot of PR being pushed out, and that gets people very emotional. And then you only need an inkling of bad news, like that Culper report that we think we more or less debunked. You've seen how quickly we dropped then. So that's what I'm saying. But the big news over the week was Trump signed an executive order, and wants this more or less say unleashing American drone dominance. So what it is, it's to advance American drone technology and urban air mobility. And then we'll get onto the stock, I believe, that's being sort of forgotten about by quite a bit of the eVTOL community. However, it's not forgotten about by their own investors, trust me, because it's done a right rally. But we'll go through this to them. So, the order directs the administration or the administrator of the FAA to expand drone operations by enabling routine beyond visual line of sight drone operations for commercial and public safety missions, and to accelerate the development, testing, and scaling of American drone technologies, including advanced air mobility and autonomous operations. Now, with a statement like this, would you tie the two of them together? Yeah. So people have quickly read commercial and public safety, and then they've read to accelerate the development, testing, and scaling of, where have I read it? Autonomous operations. Do you believe this will speed up their ability to have autonomous flights, basically running before we can walk? And I think this is why it's hyping the stock pretty much, because they think it's going to be easy type certification, and then look, we're going to autonomous straight away. I think we're talking more about UAVs when we're on about autonomous drone technology. I do think it will come down, but the good part of this is they are going to scale up for commercial and public safety missions. So I do think it will be easier for them to get certification, but I have a caveat too. But Dylan, I'll let you get in there with your thoughts first of all too.
Yeah, and I won't take too long because I'm still interested actually in your caveat. And maybe I'm too narrow-minded on it at the moment, but when I hear drone, and then I'm trying to associate that to an autonomous Joby, and that's for midnight flying. And I think it would come down to testing. So with the testing on each hours, they're gearing up for piloted testing. So obviously there's been a focus there. So it would want to be a shift over to not having any, in the research development going hard into what the autonomous flight could be. But now I'm going to back up a second because So if let's just say we're in commercial operations. I'm not going to put a year on it, but let's just say we're in straight commercial operations, autonomous prior to pilot. I don't think it will happen, but I'll just say it. Is somebody going to be as trusting in getting in an S4 or a midnight for the very first time and doing a taxi route like this, having it be an autonomous flight versus having that safety of kind of we're okay with what we know and having that pilot on board?
You're hitting the
Um,
nail on the head there, massively.
okay, I'm gonna pass it back. Yeah, what's your continued thoughts?
Yeah, so I've said it before. My big thing about public adoption will be people want to be transported by brands they already know. So that's why I fully back the likes of United slapping their sticker on it, the likes of Ethiopian Airlines slapping stickers on it, Toyota, because people always associate with things they know. Now, getting on an electric, most of these people will never have flown a helicopter. So, number one, that's going to be a weird experience for them. Second of all, it's now going to be electric now than been around for so long. And then third, if you then throw an extra thing, it's not even going to have a pilot on it. Do you know what? I don't want them to run before they can walk. Let's get the public adoption over the line. Let's get the piloted test and let's get the
I like
certification.
that. Yeah.
But let me throw the caveat in here. So, has anyone actually thought of? Oh, and this makes me sound like a bear, and I promise you, it's
That's
just to
okay.
like spur the head a little bit.
Of course.
But if they get certification, doesn't matter when they get certification, whether it's Q127 or it's Q426, doesn't really matter. But they're now going to be flying over highly dense public areas. Are they going to get the flight license from the FAA to fly around the Olympics? Even if they're certified, you still need a flight license. Like, if you think of it, we're going to bring it back to aviation, or we'll bring it back to, look, some of you guys here at Rocket Lab, bring it back to SpaceX. Everyone knows SpaceX. So, Falcon 9, their rocket is certified, yeah? But they still need a flight license for every flight they take. So, fair enough. And we said, look, when you get certified, there's still challenges of the line. I think some people think we get certified, that's it. There's challenges on upscale manufacturing, but there's also challenges on, look, they've never had this amount of aircraft flying at low altitude around highly dense populated areas. That is the only thing I want to sort of bring to the table before people jump too hard on a hype train that they believe that ACHR or Joby or New Horizon vertical aerospace, it doesn't matter who you're talking about, are not going to dilute, and it's only going to 100 from here, and you know the stuff you read on X. Just I'd have that in the top drawer of your invest in filing cabinet. That it's just a thought I've had. But Dylan, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if I could, you pop the caveat for myself to go back out, and timing is so interesting. Been talking with a great member actually from the community in the Discord. So we've been texting and chatting now. I'm sure if he's watching, he knows who he is. Much love to you. I won't put your name out there, but if you ever say it's cool, obviously credit, credit due where credit is due. So, but point is, sent over video today and talking about the densely populated areas. Somebody was actually talking into Archer and kind of the flight paths. And I guess it could be for Archer, Joby, anybody in this sector, and calling them corridors, and maybe taking them over, like basically be flying them over your highways. So
Okay.
as opposed to it being, yeah. So as opposed to it being kind of like over the top of my roof, and I think actually a part of that, nobody quote me yet on this because I just kind of had this um, thankfully given info given today. But also the noise reduction, I believe, had some play in that as well. Where if you're flying in this corridor, it has something to do about like uh, restraining more of the additional noise that may be coming if you're having a few of these flying in the air. And also for the flight paths for your more commercial airplanes and such, that would have them on these kind of direct routes, or I'm gonna have to really learn what corridor means, but I'm gonna just use the word corridor because I think it's correct. Well, no, I shouldn't do that, but I'm gonna use the word. I apologize. But anyway, so they fly them over the corridor, fly them over the highway, and boom. So kind of a safer route that might also offer some noise reduction to the aircrafts.
That's interesting. Like flight
Mm,
corridor, and I think it is something that. Oh, I don't want to quote the wrong one. I think it was ACHR when they were speaking about the New York plans, and this was prior the New York announcement this year. This could have been 2 years ago. They were talking about flight corridors.
okay.
Look, I believe that could work to an extent, but they still have to fly to the vertiport, and
Eh,
that's where it gets like if you think so. The SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles is gonna be hopping, and that is a vertiport attached to it. So,
sure.
like, are you gonna get a flight license to it? Look, they must believe, and I don't think the likes of Archer and Joby haven't thought about the likes of this. So this is Mr. Liam with his tinfoil hat sitting in the Republic of Ireland saying this.
No, no, good
Guys,
thoughts. Good thoughts.
it was just more of a thought I just wanted to throw out there. I didn't want to say Brightstone. Brightstone, again, thank you for the support, brother. You're always here, every single stream. I took profit out of both Joby and Archer today. If Joby and Archer don't drop little, I'll probably put more on HOVR. That was a nice boost. Those you are really bullish on HOVR, like really bullish on HOVR. And I can see why, like, Brandon himself is absolutely amazing. The project, unbelievable. Do you know what it is? I feel like I'm just invested. I don't want people to take me up wrong here, yeah? Because I put Archer, Joby, Rocket Lab all under the same umbrella here. They are speculative plays. They're not profitable.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm invested in way too many specs to go for a really speculative play in HOVR. Like I said it in my stream earlier on. My problem with HOVR, look, if it goes well, you're in for a roller coaster. I've said this before. You're in for a roller coaster. It's either going to go really well or it's going to go really wrong. I promise you, it's not going to sit where it is. It's going to go one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
You're either going to zero or you're going high. But my problem is in the likes of this space is it's like Tesla and their full self-driving. It hasn't been proven yet that they can do it or that public adoption will take place. But it'd be then like me then investing in a way smaller company and going, they're doing the exact same thing but better.
Mm-hmm.
But they haven't really much substance as such to it. It's a great idea. Look, there's many great ideas. How many of us loved Lilium? I don't believe HOVR is Lilium. Before people shoot me down on that, I don't believe HOVR is Lilium. I hold a small position of HOVR, but I'm going to be honest. I don't want to ruin a relationship with Brandon, and I think Brandon likes my honesty here, because I just don't want people to like think that I am heavily invested in HOVR and that I'm just trying to sell you HOVR and you all jump in and then you lose. I'm going to stick to exactly what I said from the very start. Good, bad, or ugly, I'm going to say exactly how I feel on the day. And look, many a day you've seen I've been wrong massively, but I have been right a few times too. And my gut feeling today is I wouldn't be comfortable. It's not that I see anything wrong with them. I genuinely, there's no alarm bells ringing saying like this is too good to be true, but I'm just not willing to put that much risk in investing in HOVR when I haven't seen Archer and Joby, the two giants, do it yet. Once, I've said it before with Warren Buffett, I think I said it on my stream earlier, that sometimes you're better investing in at a higher price, knowing information that'll keep you safer. So, look, if HOVR comes and gets a certain amount of contracts, or they get more financial backing from a big institute, I know Brandon said that they can look for more or less a bailout from the Canadian government before they'd have to dilute.
Right.
But I don't know if I want to invest in a business that is that close to that, and that is an option that's willing to be pulled at the moment. I don't know. Look, guys, I could be completely wrong.
Well, and I think it's interesting, and I'll check now that we've closed for the day. I wouldn't be surprised with Archer. This is just me and my feelings on Archer. If Tosha Perkins and Eric Lintel sell shares tonight and tomorrow morning, so that seems to be what happens when we get the pumps. But I'm just gonna check on the SEC real quick. I had Joby, Archer, and Rocket Lab up, just seeing if anybody from inside the company had filed any Form 144s. So it'll be interesting to see tomorrow, if any of the insiders did take profit. Let's see, there is a new filing on Rocket Lab, non-financial, nothing new. Yeah, so nothing new has made it to the SEC database on that. But sorry, actually, to wrap the thought around, I've been a little bit surprised that in the last two run-ups that there's not been a heavier dilution from Archer or Joby. So it's been interesting that they felt comfortable with their cash positions and riding those out. Because again, like you said, it's speculative play. The retail investor community could wake up tomorrow and say, not not feeling this one as much, and obviously if their stock dropped to 5 they wouldn't be getting as much for the shares that they would go to market as. But yeah, so it's nice actually to see that both Joby and Archer with their pumps have been able to maintain the confidence in their company and their cash balance sheet and not hit us with that next day drop dilution. So not that I don't see it incoming. I've kind of waited once or twice already for it, but yeah. So we will see what's to come.
Yeah, and look, I think some of you guys think I'm beating down Horizon. Do you know what actually might be a better bet? Instead of me putting across my worries about Horizon, guys, would you be interested if I brought Brandon on again and see if he could settle my nerves a little bit? Is that something you'd like right now, or would you give it a bit of time, let us get him on after the earnings call? He said he's open to come on whenever he's available. So look, I can reach out to Brandon again and get him back on. I really like the guy. It's one of those, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because like my heart's telling me like, look, this project is great. It's exactly what we've been sort of like preaching about when it comes to Archer and Joby, and I feel like I could get married to the stock. But then in another sense, it's just like, look at where it is. There's no news coming out. It's very, very close. Like, we're over the dollar now, but all it takes is a bit of a backlash and away we go. But Brightstone said, I agree with you to some degree, but there are far too many major companies involved in to fail. Multiple airliner companies, Toyota, Palantir, etc. Yeah, I completely agree. Like I said, that Archer and Joby have definitely thought about it. Liam in the Republic of Ireland has not just outfought Adam and Joe Ben. But what I just want to say is I'm basically trying to bring my thoughts across in an honest way that this is one of my thoughts about when I'm investing in Archer and Joby, especially at quite a frothy price now. Timelines can get pushed back. That's all I'm saying. Could be a good thing for you both. Oh yeah, invite Brandon again. Look, you all love Brandon. I appreciate the support you gave Brandon, and I appreciate that Brandon came into the comments. The amount of comments Brandon answered, and in such detail. The guy is an absolute genius. I genuinely can see comparisons between himself and the likes of this might be a bit controversial to say right now. Not in personality wise, but in like genius wise, I can see Elon Musk sort of traits to him.
Oh, I had to pop the video back on. I was like, who's the comparison? I'm gonna have to chop that up for a short.
Yeah.
The Elon. Hey, no, but I like the open-mindedness, Liam. No, and I like that you see it in him. I actually pulled my portfolio up on the computer just to kind of get that gauge of kind of either dollars versus shares, speculative versus, what people, Google or ... And again, I'm no big time, I work a 9 to 5. I'm hoping to get a retirement check from my 9 to 5 in 15 years. So not about portfolio size, but yeah, it's all about individual risk appetite. And it's been fun to be in the eVTOLs for this past 9 to 12 months. It's been nice.
Again, guys, all I want to say is what goes up quick goes down quick. 172% in a month that's ringing alarm bells for me, considering there's not any major news coming out. Like the last news, and I have verified that this more or less is the last news, was around 22 days ago, and it was to participate in the summit. I'm not lying when it comes to that, but we'll bring Brandon on. We'll see what sort of is driving the company at the moment. Any new major breakthroughs happening. But what I want to do, I'm conscious of time because we have Haze Club soon. So I've said there is a play that I have been quite interested in at the moment, especially once that executive order came out. And I think some of you have forgotten about it. We have Redwire. Guys, can someone jump into the comments and tell me why Redwire, the space company, is a good play when it comes to the executive order of drone technology? I'll give you 30 seconds to let me know why Redwire could be a good play, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. 17% over the last 5 days, 77% over the last month. We're running nicely. There is some reasons why it's running nicely. We speak about Redwire quite a bit on Haze Club, so I'm not going to turn eVTOL Weekly into Redwire. But does anyone know why Redwire could be being propped up, and I could see it doing a bit more of a run-up once people sort of look back and realize what this executive order is focused on?
How did it do today, Liam?
So today, Redwire is up 10%.
Awesome.
10.34%.
Awesome.
Right, guys, I'll let you know. Redwire are acquiring Edge Autonomy. What do Edge Autonomy do? UAVs, drones. What is this? It's to upscale American drone dominance. It's for the scaling of American drone technologies, including advanced air mobility and autonomous operations. We already have the autonomous operation, development, and testing, and it's all to accelerate it. Guys, I honestly believe Redwire is going to benefit substantially from this. Redwire can focus on the defensive side when it comes to their drones. They're VTOL drones, they're not eVTOL. So I'm sorry for any of you guys that are completely obsessed with the electric side, but they are VTOL drones. I'll dive in a little bit more onto them if people are interested in Redwire. It's something I really want to start covering again. I have to admit my due diligence on Redwire dropped a little bit as we started expanding the channel out. I do have a position in Redwire, but I can say I definitely wouldn't be following me into Redwire because I have very basic knowledge on what's going on the last month or so in the company. But I just wanted to put that out there. Redwire have acquired Edge Autonomy. They've done a vote on it the last day. That is why we're firing up. And then with this executive order happening, was it Friday? I think Redwire is quite a good play when it comes to this. Smoke Gaming says, yes, bring Brandon back after the earnings call. Look, would you like us to cover the earnings call? Dylan, I think that'd be a nice one for me and you to cover.
Yeah, if they would like, well, yeah, I think as you usually are, Liam, if it's something the community is looking to have covered, I think you're usually the guy that's willing to step up and cover it. So yeah, we'll take a thought at it. Yeah.
Also, guys, I asked about it last week. I didn't actually get much of a response, so I'm going to ask again. If you want a second eVTOL podcast throughout the week, give me 3 comments saying do a second eVTOL podcast throughout the week, and we'll do it. Me and Dylan are willing to jump on. We get Ryse on. We get a few new guys on. I need to reach out to a lot more eVTOL company. I know we're speaking to a vertiport at the moment. Can't let you know who it is. That's confidential until we get it over the line. Speaking of vertical aerospace, we have Horizon. We have actually. I was speaking to a guy the last day. He's a aeronautical engineer. Would love to get him on just to share his thoughts. Guys, are any of you aeronautical engineers? Would love to get you on because by no means am I any sort of specialist in flight engineering it. What are you like?
No. I have the dishpan hands. My wife puts furniture together better than I do. She usually just after a few minutes tells me to get out of the way. When we were building her vanity, super glue didn't come in the pack, but somehow it got pulled out of the drawer. Next thing I know, I super glue in my hair. So, much respect to all that do, all the hard work and labor. I'm not above it. I do what I can, but nowhere, I do not have that acumen or knowledge. So I'm a hard worker, but that is just not anything I am up to speed on. So yeah, if anybody is an expert on it, please come join and fill us in.
So we then have Todd Alden. Let's do it. Another cast. Look, that's 1. Then we have Brightstone. Yeah. So another podcast. And that's 2. Right. 1 more, Dylan, and let's see. We'll call it a date. Let the bromance continue.
I love it.
Yeah, I'd love to do a second one. We could call it something like eVTOL Fan Club, where we get multiple. I want to do it a little bit like Case Club, where this can be like our eVTOL weekly news, where we share the facts, share everything. I feel like a second one could be like where we see it going. What are some of the key aspects we haven't looked at? A little bit more of a think tank when it comes to eVTOLs, rather than just banging on about the facts every week and where we see they start going. Still run eVTOL weekly, but it could be the eVTOL think tank. Look, just come up with that.
No. I think that's an awesome idea, and as it's an emerging industry, again, having all those thoughts and opinions, it's some people I can talk to, and they're the ones that ground me, and some people I talk to, and I'm just like, no, I just believe, So I think it's a very cool idea.
Yeah, 100%. And guys, I'll give you literally 2 minutes to jump in and tell us to do the eVTOL think tank.
I'm about to vote. I'm about to kind of sign in and vote myself.
I come up with some of these projects on live streams and I get so excited about them. And then I'm like, you know what? People actually aren't that interested in that. So, like, look, if you're not
Sure.
interested in it, guys, keep the chat how it is. And
Hmm.
anyone watching us on X, we probably can't see your comments right now, but I think X was working again earlier.
No, no.
Guys, also, please, 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 if you are subscribed or not subscribed, if you are following Dylan on X, just make sure you have the right Dylan. Dylan got hacked,
Thanks,
and
man.
his new um X name. Let me get it up here.
Yeah, the worst thing is I guess when you get hacked, you can't go and delete the one that you started. And I literally created an X, and I think I was booted off quicker than I had been on the platform. So next thing I know, it's 30 minutes later. So yeah, I should probably change profile picture just so they don't match. But if anybody sees it, it is the one with the 11. So not a self plug. I will grow, and I'll put better content out there so you guys are updated on Archer, eVTOL. Been taking an interest in Rocket Lab lately, so you might see some stuff up there as well. Also Haze Club, just an awesome group of guys, so I might repost some of their stuff as well. So yeah, thanks Liam for bringing it up. But if it doesn't have the 11, it is really me, but I will not be able to see or chat with you. So I always love chatting eVTOL. So yeah, if anybody has any thoughts or ideas, feel free to drop them in the DMs, I guess, like, and I'll help reach out right back to you. Yeah, it'd be fun.
And then, guys, look, my X is tiny at the moment. 318 followers. Considering we have about 2,500 subscribers on YouTube, please follow me on X. I'm actually begging you. But look, we have an eVTOL fans and investors group. There's 160 of you on it. Guys are amazing. New Blade's doing amazing. Moderating it. We have Archer Daily on it. We have eVTOL Hub on it. Look, it's only gonna get bigger and bigger. So make sure you're in the eVTOL fan investors community on X. Look, completely free to join. I'll
Yeah.
show you the type of stuff that's put on it. Look, there's 7 of you watching us on X at the moment, which means what? There's about 14 of you watching on YouTube. Guys, please jump across to YouTube. Bang that subscribe button because we have a bet with.
That's right.
What
Let's
is
go.
Stacker saying?
What's he got?
The Mitt just ended what up?
Oh, what's up,
Oh,
bro? Oh,
admit
Z,
just
yeah,
ended
yeah,
what's up.
yeah.
He was like,
Yeah,
what?
it was like we were like, admit it, just end it. What's it? Hey, Z, so good to see you in here, man. So it's always good chatting with you in here and all the streams that we chat and stuff. So yeah, it's cool.
I miss your life. Haha. Honestly, Zed Stacker we'll be doing a haste club in about what, half an hour.
True.
Look, there's a mad lineup today, yeah. So I streamed the launch earlier with Chris. Then we've done eVTOL Weekly. We have Haste Club. Then
Nice.
there's look, guys. Any of you that wants to know anything about any sort of space investing, there's a Spaces podcast that happens every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Look,
True.
what I told you about Redwire, they're going to be discussing it all there. So make sure you check that out tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. To me, that's 1 a.m. my time, but I will be there.
Nice.
If you want to hear me talk in Spaces, let me know too. But yeah, it's a bit of a wild one to me. So I done the launch, then we're doing the back-to-back. We're getting used to these back-to-backs. I promise you, what I want to do, I would love to do a opening bell show, but only concentrate on the eVTOL stocks and Rocket Lab. I actually think there's no one else that does it like that, where let's really niche down. Let's get all the eVTOL guys and the Rocket Lab guys all together for an opening and closing bell. But look, that's a long-term project for the Hustle Brothers. We're going nowhere at 2,500 subs. But as we start growing, yeah, we will start bringing stuff like that out. Look, guys, you're seeing us grow. You're seeing us bring on new Hustle Brothers. We're bringing on Dylan. Dylan is now a permanent Hustle Brother. He's part of the furniture now. You'll be seeing a lot more of him. If you want to see It didn't only video. Please reach out. Let him know. There's no pressure on him whatsoever. But if that's something he would like to do, look, Dylan, the world's your oyster at the moment. If you have a certain thing you want to do, or a certain podcast you want to make, or certain people you want to bring on, you have not been the invitation to. You're a hustle, brother, now, brother. You don't have to run anything by me.
I appreciate that, and not to be corny or cliche, I mean, just to anybody watching or that might rewatch this, I mean, to Liam and his credit, you know, it was something again when I was getting into Archer. I have a son. He was 3 at the time, and a lot of stuff going on that me and Liam also kind of connected offline with as well. And um, I knew I loved the company, and I'm kind of an entrepreneur at heart, but I knew I didn't have the time and the bandwidth and capability to give a community like something to the quality that Liam does, you know, and keep up with that pace. So again, that's what drew me into to support him so much and being honest to myself with that time. But my bigger point that I want to get across is like if anybody has a passion and whether it's eVTOL or the content creation or just something else that's just rattling in your head, just to the best you can and to the best with the time you have, just go for it. I'm kind of that guy, you know. I'm a bit euphoric. I've always been a glass half full. Parenting has kind of brought me to maybe a ground level floor, but yeah, just a random thing from me. If you guys got any passion projects, you know, I've turned an Excel document now, and all of a sudden now I'm smiling with the Hustle Brothers and getting to talk with a community of guys. So yeah, you know, just keep enjoying your life and you know family and health. You know I want everybody to be healthy and happy and yeah, all that good stuff.
Guys, please show Dylan some love there. They're kind words. They're straight from the heart. Promise you, our pre-shows are just us talking
Yeah.
as two fellas would. There's never any format, and Dylan can back that. There's never any
hmm
format.
I didn't know I was going to be big head Dylan today, you know, and to our beloved, with all respect, big head Reese. I love you, man. Been missing you. Thanks so much for putting up the video and taking that time out. And can't wait to do one of these with you. You know, so just want to just show you some love and let you know that I'm sure the community as a whole missing you, but me as well, missing you, man. So can't wait to see you back live and get those thoughts rolling. So miss you and hope to see you soon too.
And guys, please jump into Reese's video, show him some support.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know myself after a while it can be weird coming back to doing this content creation. But look, you guys, what brings me back, the amount of messages I got off this last week is absolutely insane. But look, we have Mark Berry, and this is exactly the community we want to mature. Mark Berry, I'm an engineer working in aerospace for over 25 years. I'm happy to give my perspective on Joby HOVR. There we go. There's our podcast. Mark Berry,
Hey,
let me
Mark.
DM you, brother. Would you be free to come on a podcast with us this week? Look, guys, you're seeing a relationship mature here live on
Yeah,
air.
yeah,
If you really want to do something like content creation, look, just reach out. I love just speaking to anyone really. Um, Look, it doesn't have to be VTOLs. It can be, I don't know, Coca-Cola. If you want to do a
hmm
podcast on Coca-Cola,
Go. This,
if if I'm interested enough, I'll sit
hmm
in the podcast with you. If
There
I'm
you
not
go.
interested enough, you can stream it. I'll help you out to stream it. But yeah, whatever stock. If you just have a passion, that's all you need is a passion.
And
Hustle
and
Brothers
don't
plays
and
for you
don't be
guys.
em- don't be embarrassed. I was telling Liam pre-show, you know, he started with the red wall, and like I said, I'd love to bring you guys more Archer content. So if it's something you'd like to see from me, feel free to let me know to inspire me to bring that to you guys in that sort of format. So as Liam started with his red wall, you know, I kind of got the blue blanket. So you know, I guess that's with the starting. So It's kind of like a room is trying to get up for my son, so just years of stuff. So hopeful, better, more professional backgrounds for you guys in the future. But just kind of again, is that smile to anybody that you know, no matter what you look like, what you sound like, or what your background is, like just and there's a great community and it's really like Liam says, as long as you're respectful, I think everybody is welcome and here to have a good time and enjoy and continue to grow together.
And guys, if you're not here to follow my journey, if you're not here to follow Ryse investing journey, look, you now have Dylan's investing journey. And I think it'll just be amazing to see where this goes in the next few years. Look, you'll see many highs, many lows, but you'll see what it's like for an average retail investor to keep trying, keep chipping away at stock they love.
And
But
maybe
guys,
just put something real quick into that, Liam. I'm so sorry. And just in that, working with the 9 to 5, it's been so interesting to see where allocating towards a 401k and having the county run that. So I've been maybe you guys can hear me. Sorry about that. Technically with county for 10 years. So, X amount of money is within T Row through that. And then been retail investing for a year and a half and X amount of money I've seen in that. So again, obviously with doing this yourself, you got to be on top of it. It's not somebody else managing your money. But so again, my journey is kind of seeing two different portfolios and seeing what a county does and handling it, and just an interesting journey now taking in retail. So just kind of wanted to again share that, yeah, I'm a 9 to 5 guy who had the 401k, and a year and a half ago, I was like, maybe instead of giving gifts to my nieces and nephews, maybe I can gift them stock. I didn't even own private equity stock at the time, but I was like, maybe they'll like this more than the toy they'll play with for 2 months. So now I download the Robinhood app, and here I am as a part of the Hustle Brothers, talking about archery aviation. My second wife, my second wife stock archers. So I'm sorry, Liam, but go for it. You take it over.
that's all good. So what I'm going to do, guys, I am about to go live in 20 minutes with the Haste Club. Look, Haste Club, whether you're investing in Rocket Lab, whether you just like Space Stock, or you just want a bit of a laugh, look, we have Chris go for a beer run halfway through. You don't know what's happening on the Haste Club. It's a bit random, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. In a
That's
good
what I
way, in the best
love,
way.
brother.
Yeah.
It's funny as anything. Absolutely anything can happen. It's a lot more chilled out, laid back. Guys, make sure to meet us here in about 20 minutes. Look, I'll be in the pre-stream now. I'll be messaging you back and over. Ask whatever questions, whatever way you want to steer the content. Make sure to let me know. Guys, my name's Liam. This is the Hustle Brothers eVTOL Weekly. This has been Dylan Rogers. He is another Hustle Brother. You want to become a Hustle Brother? No problem. Just DM any of us. DM Dylan. He won't share it with me, trust me. If you want to DM Dylan, just see what it's like to create content under us. Reach out to him, have a chat with him. He's always free to even have a call with you. No, please be respectful. 100 people, please do not jump in, because he does have a wife and a kid, and I think he'd be killed if he's 24/7 talking to the Hustle Brothers. But no, my name's Liam. This is Dylan from the Hustle Brothers. We will be back again for another live this week. We're going to bring you, hopefully, Mark Berry, who is an aerospace engineer. He is an aerospace engineer. Mark, I'm going to reach out to you now on X. And guys, see you in 20 minutes for the Haze Club. Right, guys? Until later on in the week.